A playoff push beginning here at MSU Soccer Park as New York Red Bulls 2 host Penn FC in a big one towards the end of July. USL Soccer coming up on ESPN Plus in just a moment. Two teams out on the field as Penn FC head up north just a little bit to face off New York Red Bulls 2. The first time these two teams will play this year. I'm David Goss, and I have two special guests alongside me today, Hunter Freeman and Florian Volo. And Hunter, when we look at these two teams for New York Red Bulls 2 coming off a short road trip, they picked up a point, but they want to get back to winning ways.
Yeah, it was a difficult road trip for them. Two tough teams playing away in Cincinnati and Tampa. Not the results that they necessarily wanted, but they're back at home, and they've been in great form here.
For Penn FC, this is the beginning of a 5-game road trip for a 9-game home stand. And Hunter, we look at our star players, and your former teammate, Lucky Kasana, is one of them.
Yeah, a guy I know very well and had a lot of success with during our time at the New York Cosmos, but he got off to a slow start this season. As he's gotten fit and gelled with his teammates, now he has 7 goals and 1 assist so far.
And then we look on the other side. You come a bit more defensive. Chris Lemma, though, has been a key cog for New York Red Bulls, too.
Yeah, another guy that I think has really grown into his role, grown into this team as the season's progressed. He got a great assist in that game on the second goal in Tampa, and I look for him to build upon that success tonight.
We mentioned it, New York Red Bulls 2, back here at MSU Soccer Park, where they've been so successful this year. The highest scoring team in the league, looking to get out and get open against Penn FC. We'll be back in just a moment with lineups and first half action here on ESPN Plus.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health, life years ahead.
These two teams out and ready to go here at MSU Soccer Park for a big one on Friday night to get the weekend of USL action started. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. A couple big names in there. Ken Tribet, one of the best in the first half of the season, 5 goals at center back. Former New York Red Bulls 2 captain Dan Metzger in midfield. And then, Hunter, you look at a few new additions as this team's still coming together.
Yeah, you see Walter Ramirez there on the left and Paulo Jr., 2 guys who have a ton of experience. Quite the opposite when you look at a younger, youthful side of Red Bull 2.
Coach Wolenek forced to move some pieces around here. Jose Aguinaga steps into the starting lineup, and Tom Barlow now becoming a mainstay at that center forward position.
Yeah, when I spoke to John Wolenek a couple weeks ago about Tom Barlow, he had a ton of high praise and said that he was actually probably the fastest guy on this Red Bull 2 team.
Kevin Pollitt's getting his 10th start of the season at center back alongside Hassan Endam, who's enjoying one of his best years of his young career. And then Raul Voss, the German head coach, in his first year as a head coach here, Hunter, for Penn FC.
Yeah, a lot of experience as an assistant. Still trying to mold this team together, bring in players. It's a club that kind of got a late start, if you will, putting together a team before this USL season. So still trying to find pieces that complement the ones that he already has. And as I said, he's added a ton of experience with Ramirez, Paulo Jr., Lucky up top as well. So I look for two completely contrasting teams in regards to age and style of play as well.
And we kick off here. Eric Tattersall, our head official, Ian McKay, and Justin Lopez, his two assistant referees, and John Hartley, our fourth official for this one. And we welcome Florian Velo into the broadcast along with us. Florian, your second broadcast. Did you stretch before this one? Did you learn from our last broadcast what you need to do now?
I think I did a little bit. Came a little bit more prepared, talk with you guys, and I'm really happy to be there again. It's going to be a fun game.
Myself and Hunter, the coaches building you up, getting you ready for the next level, MLS, international, whatever it
Oh, I'm not there yet.
maybe for you.
I'm hoping he stays on the field so I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
Because as soon as if he's done, then I'm out of the way. So obviously we'd rather see you on the field, but it's good to have you up here and hopefully get some good insight from you tonight.
And do you want to give the fans a quick update of where you're at?
Yeah, it's been like 2 weeks since my surgery. I've been doing really well, making progress every day. Started walking slowly, but yeah, I'm on my way back.
And we look forward to it. And for all of us, the last few games we've done here for New York Red Bulls 2 at home have been eventful ones, high energy ones, 5-6 goals. This is a New York Red Bulls 2 team that is the leading scoring team in the league, but only in 5th place in the Eastern Conference. Does it come down to style in your mind, Hunter, or does that come down to defensive lapses for this team not being higher up that table?
Well, I think it's certainly the style, the Red Bull way, if you will, the pressing, the counter pressing, putting the opposition constantly under pressure for 90 minutes. And when you're at home and you have that extra bit of willpower with your home crowd, you're comfortable in your confines, your locker room, your house, all that stuff. Those little things make a difference, and we've certainly seen that. I mean, that last 3-game homestand was pretty amazing. And as Wally said this week, he said, we always are telling the team we want more, and I think especially at home, that's pretty evident.
That 3-game homestand with 9 points for New York Red Bulls 2 ended with a 2-1 win over Bethlehem. They went on the road, dropped a 2-1 loss at FC Cincinnati, and then a 2-2 tie at Tampa, which, as Hunter said off the top, two pretty tough places to go and play. You look at the flip side for Penn FC, coming off a 1-1 draw at Charleston, the second-best team in the Eastern Conference. Before that, a 2-1 loss at Ottawa and a 2-1 loss at home to Richmond. You got to go all the way back to a 3-2 win against Bethlehem. This is a interesting Penn FC team because they're still putting together their roster. They end the season with 9 straight home games. When you're a squad like that where you assume there'll be points there at the end, but you're not sure, how do you carry the conversation of focus and energy throughout the first half of the year?
I mean, like you said, I think they've been up and down, kind of inconsistent for that first half of the season. When you can look at your schedule and see you have 9 home games to end your season, that's definitely a good feeling. You want to try to collect as many points as possible before that, but I think what you've seen is that they sometimes tend to play up to their opponent. So, as you said, they just drew at Charleston. Difficult place to play against the top team in the East right now. So, I look for them to come out here tonight knowing that they were going to play a good Red Bull 2 team. And this experience that they've added and with a couple of the pieces and players, I look for a good match tonight.
When you were a young player on Red Bulls 2 and you play against these more experienced senior teams, the Charlestons, the Richmonds, especially the Rochesters for you, what's the difference in how you have to come into the game, the experience for these young guys?
We don't have much experience when we come to this kind of games. They're much more older. They've been playing in the league for so long, so we just come with like our energy, and we know like comes towards the end of the game, they're gonna be shut down, and this is how we take over by using our energy, like to keep chasing the balls, like keep doing the little details that make us really good.
When you played with Red Bulls too, did you feel a difference in the way you played against another MLS2 side compared to a standalone USL team?
Usually MLS2 sides are much younger than, for example, Penn FC tonight. They have younger players from the academies, from some draft picks, so it's a similar matchup when we play those MLS teams, their reserves, compared to playing a team that is not a reserve from an MLS. So yeah, there's a little difference and a different approach to those kind of games.
This team, a great base in midfield. Richie Menjivar, El Salvadorian international, longtime experienced NASL and USL player, and Dan Metzger, of course, who captained this New York Red Bulls 2 side last year, sitting in at the base of that Penn FC midfield. And then a dangerous front attack of Walter Ramirez, Lucky Kasana, and Aaron Dennis, who you played with a little bit of time, Hunter, down in Miami.
Yeah, Aaron Dennis had a fantastic year last year until, well, not last year, the prior year, I beg your pardon. Before he was injured, I think it was the third to last game of the season, and it was really unfortunate. He spent all last year rehabbing. Something Flo here is starting to understand and appreciate the good and bad of that. But I think I spoke to him just before the match tonight, and he said he's finally getting fit. He had a little nagging injury at the beginning of the season as well, so scored a goal last week. So he's definitely coming here full of confidence, that's for sure.
You hear these, I'm not going to call them cliches, but comments all the time of confidence and injuries and not being sure. How tough is it when you do have a long-term injury, of trying to come back and trying to understand or just play your soccer?
Yeah, I mean, fortunately, I never had something as serious as Flo has, or with a knee like Aaron Dennis had as well. I had some ankle injuries that took almost just as long, and it's just what I think the most difficult part, and Flo, you can probably talk about this too, is just not being around the team as often as you want. Like when the team has an away game, especially, those are what the fans don't realize is when you go on those road trips, that's where the team comes together. That's where you really get to know one another. And when you miss out on that for months on end, that there's a void, a hole inside of you, that you're looking to get back into that.
Jose Aguinaga trying that through ball, but Flo, you mentioned you're making small goals. You're hoping to travel with the team in 2 weeks, and you said not walk on crutches, to be back with the squad.
Yeah, it's really. I think I've learned that I need to stay positive in how I'm thinking. I need to stay around the team because I've learned from Connor that I've been through a same injury last year, and then the worst part, he was saying that it's been like kind of not rejected, but not being part of the team, being always alone, like while you're inside, they're all practicing or they're on a away trip. So yeah, I'm trying to stick around as much as I can. I would love to go on a road trip with them and stay with them as much as I can and be a part of the team and then keep rehabbing at the same time. But the most important is stay positive about everything and then not being down or keep looking forward, basically.
Menjivar pushes that ball out wide. Penn FC playing out the back with some nifty passing, and then the long ball taken down by Politz.
And I'll say my experience throughout my career, I've experienced it both ways, but I think the best and most successful for players to get back as quickly as possible is when the club, the coach, the players on the team make sure that they still include you. As Flo said when he told me earlier that I'll hope to travel in a couple weeks, I think that's excellent, and that comes from Chris Armas. And he does. It's not something they have to do. It's an added expense, obviously, for the team to bring him along. But in the end, it's that positive energy, Flo still feeling like he's part of the team, not like he's an outsider. That's what's going to get him back. That's what's going to keep him positive for these months to come. And I think that's excellent from the Red Bull organization.
Flo, you know a few of these players out here pretty well, but Dan Metzger, captained the team you started with last year. tell us a little bit about what he's like as a personality, as a player.
He's an amazing leader. I think I had the chance to play with him over the last 2 years before he left. He actually also went through the same injury as I did. So like as soon as I got hurt, like he reached out to me. He's a leader. Like his work ethic is amazing. His technique and understanding of the game is great. I think the Penn FC is lucky to have him in the midfield. I think he knows how to control the game, how to pace the game, and I think we can expect good things from him today.
On the ball now, looking to restart the attack. Good pressure, forcing the turnover for Penn FC. Aaron Dennis finding some space to work into, looking to get into the path of Ramirez and just too far. But Hunter, you see there, Ramirez, Kasana, Dennis, it seems like changing positions along that front three to try and find some openings.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit shift in their formation too from what we showed in the lead up to the match. It's not so much three up top. It looks more like you have Dennis and Lucky up top. Maybe Lucky sometimes drifting back defensively just underneath Dennis, and then you have Ramirez and Paulo Jr. out wide. But both Ramirez and Paulo Jr., they've played that wide position throughout their careers, and they love the 1-2, the combinations coming inside. So I look for a lot of that tonight. You saw that there with Paulo Jr. coming inside.
Tenari offside there. And you saw the thumbs up from him to Aguinaga, liking the pass even though the flag went up. Andrew Tenari is going to be a large part of this team tonight, as you see Armando Moreno, the leading goal scorer for this squad, with a foot injury, so he'll be out. Brian White not out there with this team as well, and Christian Caceres, who's been a huge part of this squad, not as always in the attack, but in controlling possession, also not out there with this team, so a lot of the possession and attacking load is going to fall on Tenari's shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, those three that you just mentioned, with the exception of maybe Tenari, really are focal points in this attack. So Tenari being the only one out there tonight, that means that there's a lot of goals and shoes to fill, assist as well. And, obviously a guy like Barlow up top, he'll be chomping at the bit to get on the end of some things tonight.
Tom Barlow starting to take over the center forward role as a starter. Draft pick out of the University of Wisconsin. Tenari coming back and winning possession, looking for the run of Barlow. Creative interception there, and then clearance by Tribbett. Ken Tribbett out to block that one. It's punched away. A chance here for Aguinaga. Still alive, and it's past the foot of Tenari. First big look of the game for either team. Looked like a bit of a mistake there from Pizer in goal, and Aguinaga just couldn't take advantage. New York still on the attack. Barlow's shot now, and that's just wide.
Yeah, you'll see here on that cross where Pizer elected to punch.
The shot here, it looks like, is going to be from Barlow. But talk to us a little bit. Pizer on his line, but chose to punch rather than catch. And Aguinaga, I mean, you're not going to get a better look than that.
Yeah, and that's the one thing. Pizer is someone I've played against. He's a bit unorthodox. He can make some very good saves. He's very good reactionary. But sometimes his decision-making is not the best, especially from crosses. That's been my experience. And there he did well to cut the cross out because Barlow would have been there for an easy tap-in. But like you said, a great look there for Aguinaga.
Flo, you're out there on the field. You see that happen. A goalkeeper do something like that early on. How do you now try and take advantage of that or try and figure out if there is an advantage there over the next few minutes?
It looked like he was not really confident about catching that ball. So I would try to go out wide and put crosses in front of him and then just be on the end of it. As you saw, like Barlow was on the second post, and Aguinaga is just by himself in the box. It's unlucky. It's a good save from the Penn FC goalie. But they're going to have more chances if they still try to play out wide and put crosses into that box.
And it wasn't so much the fact he chose to punch it, but it's that he punched it right down the middle at the top of the box.
Keep it.
Pizer, one of the most senior players in USL at 38 years old. This is his 16th start of the year. He won the NASL championship with San Francisco last year as the starter. After a few years in Ottawa, coming over from Portugal, he has been around everywhere. He's played in Switzerland, in Romania, in, of course, his native France and Germany. Laurel clears that one out. Stroud not quite able to save that one. Jose Aguinaga, a late addition into the starting lineup. We weren't sure who was going to start in that spot. For a player, does that affect the way you go out there, or are you coming into the game ready to go anyway?
It can affect certain players, I think. You never prepare the same based on if you start.
Aguinaga there with the through ball that Barlow couldn't catch up to.
Based on if you start or if you stay on the bench. But I'm pretty sure you always need to be ready. You never know what can happen, an injury, somebody feeling sick, some last-minute change based on the opposite team lineup. So you always have to come prepared.
When does a coach normally tell you? When would Coach Wolenek tell you?
Coach Wolenek, it would depend. I would say maybe 2 days before the game. You know the lineup for sure. Like, of course, when you get into the locker room before the game, so 90 minutes usually. But you kind of have a sense of what you're going to expect in the weekend 2 days before at practice.
Flick on from Tenari, doesn't find a teammate. NFC now working their way out of the back line.
I think the play from a player's point of view, I think you prefer to know the lineup at least the night before.
Right.
I mean, that's just me personally, and I know talking with all teammates of mine.
Is it not standard that you always know a day before?
For instance, the last club I played for, Miami FC, with a fantastic coach and Alessandro Nesta, we didn't find out till we walked into the locker room.
Every game.
Every game. And like Flo said, sometimes, depending on what you may do the day before the game or set pieces, you can get an idea of who's playing, as well as, okay, if the team has won 4 games in a row, probably not much is going to change unless there's an injury or a congested schedule with a bunch of games coming up, or just having played a bunch of games. But, you know, I think as a player, the more time you have to prepare mentally is always better. But no matter what, throughout your career, you're going to find yourself in a situation where maybe you start on the bench and a guy gets hurt in the 15th minute. You weren't expecting to come in, but you have to get ready. And as Flo said, you as a player, you have to have that mindset that expect the unexpected, I guess, is the best way I can put it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, someone could even get injured during warm-ups, and all of a sudden you have 5 minutes to warm up. I mean, all these things happen. It's not that uncommon.
Did you ever get a reasoning, or is it just he's Nesta and he does what he wants?
I mean, coaches do it for different reasons. Some coaches tell the guys the night before because they want them to be prepared. Other coaches don't tell you until you get to because they want all 18 players to think like they're starting, which is, I understand, but I think it's a little silly at the same time because, you know, again, usually there's a 13, 14 players that say, okay, I really have an opportunity to start this game. The other guys are thinking, all right, I'm going to come off the bench, and then you have the others that are fighting, you know, just to make the roster. So
Casano bringing that one down. Chance to fly by down that left wing there. Ball all the way over the top. Dennis can't get a strong touch to it.
Go.
Walter Ramirez putting that cross in. Tenari and Stroud trying to play out of their own half. Now this ball into space for Barlow. New York still in possession. One-on-one down the wing. Stroud beats the first man. Cuts it back to Nari. Off the post and in. Absolutely beautiful from end to end by New York Red Bulls too. And they get the opener.
It's a great ball by Jared Stroud on the wing. Good 1v1, and then calmly plays the cut back to Tenari, who's alone, and really, really beautiful goal from Tenari.
And I think the key was, too, Penn FC just had a chance on the other end with Ramirez cross. Red Bull 2 comes down here. A great cutback on the ground, finds Tenari making that late run, which he does so well out of that midfield spot. And a great goal, and what's really been a pretty even match here so far. Typically at this point, 20 minutes in, Red Bull 2's kind of dominated. They have their stamp on the game, but it's been pretty back and forth, I feel, between both teams. But fantastic job, great finish, and here they come again.
Jared Stroud, his 7th assist of the season as that one goes just wide. We talked about Tenari and what he's going to have to do. The moment that ball turned over, you said go. What did you see that you wanted them, which they ended up taking advantage of?
You use your speed. Like, you have to use Tom Barlow's speed, which is his biggest strength, I feel like. And then Jared is a smart player. Like we saw, like, he could have just hit it first time in the first post, but like he took his time and then used the run of Jose Aguinaga and Tom Barlow to get the defender away from Tenari, and then Tenari was just by himself, and it was easy, not easy tap in, but like he had a lot of time and space to just put the ball in the back of the net.
That's a great point you say about Aguinaga and Barlow. Their runs really opened up that space for Tenari to come in there late, and he still had a lot of work to do with that finish, getting it through all that traffic, but an excellent point you make there.
Echeverria there pushing it wide, or pushing that one just a little bit too hard. And we've seen, it seems like so far, Red Bulls 2 have set up this Penn FC backline where they've tried to play every through ball to Barlow. And now Penn FC dropping a step off a little bit more, allowing the midfielders underneath a little bit more space.
Yeah, I think Tenari and the white guys are going to have a lot more space because Barlow is trying to take care of those two strikers, or the two defenders, the two defenders trying to take care of Barlow. So I think exploiting the wide area is going to be a huge part of the game for Red Bulls 2 today.
Richie Manhivar called for that foul. Manhivar starting his career with the Atlanta Silverbacks. Back just over 5 years ago, was played in the Gold Cup for the El Salvador national team against the U.S. Played in San Antonio, and now here with Penn FC. Another free kick now will go in favor of New York, taking quickly. Stroud now turning in field. Lema tries to clip it over the top for De Vera, who's all the way up. And now New York back into the attack. Now, you've played in this Red Bull system, and a lot of players in this team, you guys like to have the ball at your feet and move it a lot quickly. That free kick, is that not an opportunity to put a ball in the box? Why does it seems that players are so excited or so quick to take everything quickly nowadays?
Yeah, I agree. I think the coaches, especially John and even the first team, they emphasize on like trying to play those balls really quickly, like quick restart to take the other team, like maybe they caught them sleeping and then get an advantage on that. There is no real answer to like, should we take it slow, should we put it in the box, should we take a quick one? It all depends on how the team is set up and just evaluate the moment, the present moment. So it all depends.
Hassan Endam here on the ball. New York Red Bulls 2 now with that 1-goal lead. Opportunity to get on the ball. Penn FC starts to sit a little bit deeper here. And all the way back to the feet of Evan Loro. Barlow's not able to win that one. Comes back out. Tourette stepping forward and into that one. He played 12 times for Bethlehem Steel last year. Getting a chance to face off against New York Red Bulls 2. This is the first regular season matchup between these two teams. New York Red Bulls 2 getting a 2-1 win in preseason against Penn FC. Did you play in that game?
No. That's a good question. I don't remember. I don't think so.
It was down in New Jersey, or down south in New Jersey.
No, I don't think so. I did not.
And these two teams will face off in the second to last game of the season, which could be one with huge playoff implications, as does this one. Don't forget, Select is the official soccer ball of the USL. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsportsamerica.com to receive free shipping on orders over $50. You can also watch highlights from every game of the 2018 season to stay up to date with news from across the USL League. Go to Facebook/USL Soccer.
And, you know, I think that right there could be maybe a reason why that Red Bull free kick was taken quick, because if you look at these two teams, I think size-wise, Penn FC has the advantage over Red Bull too.
Aginaga puts the cross in for Barlow, and it's 2-0. New York Red Bulls too off and running here in the first half.
Very, very similar to the first goal. The ball gets played wide. They get in behind there on that right-hand side. And credit to Barlow. He makes that same run that he did on the first goal where they decided to cut the ball back. Here you see Aguinaga plays the ball over the top. A great run here. And a hard-driven ball. And Barlow just beelining to get there. And an easy tap-in once it finds his foot.
You talked about Barlow and Aguinaga's runs. Hard runs to that first post, creating the chance for Chinari. This time, Barlow gets it for himself.
Yeah, Red Bulls, I think, exploited the right areas, which is the wide side. A good ball from Ethan over the top, and then good run from Jose Aguinaga, and then once again composure on the final ball to put a beautiful ball in between the goalie and Tom just a nice tap in. It's really good to see him score because I think he deserves it. Puts a lot of hard work every game, and there's more to come for him.
Barlow, his third goal of the season. Starting in that center forward role, New York Red Bulls 2. A 2-0 lead. Now, if you're Penn FC, Hunter, how does this change your game plan? Midway through this first half, like you said, it was fairly even. Yeah. Now, in a matter of about 5 minutes, you've given up 2 goals.
And I mean, that's what this Red Bull 2 team possesses, right? As soon as you think you have things under control, they can definitely get at you. And it's in those spaces that Flo was saying just before those 2 goals that he felt like they needed to attack those wide spaces. And sure enough, both of those goals came from it. If you're Penn FC, you might feel a little bit hard done here. Find yourself down 2-0 in this game where it's been fairly even, although I would say Red Bulls probably had a little bit better of the play. But we saw just before that goal, they just took a direct kick. Aaron Dennis heads the ball on, and Paulo Jr. up top, Kosana and Dennis. And then you have the crafty guys with Ramirez and Paulo out wide. So obviously they gotta keep the ball a bit more. I think it's been a little bit disruptive in their build-up, if I'm being honest, for Penn FC.
Florian, for you being part of this Red Bull system, I know it's press all the time, but what's the thought process, the discussion in training when watching tape about how this team wants to play when you take a 2-goal lead or when you have a hot start like this?
You usually don't focus on the other team. Like, you've been scoring 2 goals in the last 5-10 minutes, and the only thing you have on your mind when you're on that team is just keep pushing. There's more to come. Like, keep pressing. They're not doing good, like taking care of us right now. So we need to keep doing what we're good at, and there's more goals to come, so that we won't expect New York Red Bulls to stop their pressing and then being like really hard on the ball and try to get the ball in the attacking half.
I think that kind of goes back to like what Wally was talking about, is that we continue to preach, keep going for more, and I think that's something not only this Red Bull 2 team, but the MLS team as well, and Flo, you probably know better than any of us, is that it's almost like a shark smelling blood in the water. You know, they're relentless, especially when they're at home and you have that crowd behind you. As soon as you get that goal, I think just from what he said, it's like, you know what, this is the best opportunity to get another one and another one. And sometimes on a different team, maybe it's like, you know what, okay, now let's just take a breath. Let's keep the ball. Let's possess it a little bit. And I feel like in this Red Bull 2 and the Red Bull organization as a whole, it's quite the opposite. It's like, let's just keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah, and I feel like there's a little bit less pressure, so they are able to do more. There's not like you're not scared of like, oh, you're winning 1-0 against a really important and a tough team to beat, and then, oh, let's just sit back. That's why we did this year with the first team, sometimes winning 1-0, and we could feel we didn't have the possession of the ball, and then it was really hard to keep it, so we drop a little bit. Here we can see every time, even last game when I was here against Richmond, they just kept attacking, and then they kept scoring. The goals come. So it depends on the type of game you're playing and the opponent you're playing against.
Metzger trying to pass it out the back. He's calling for a handball. That call doesn't come, and Venter able to block Tom Barlow's shot. Lemon now on the ball from a Red Bull Academy, and U23 player has been through the whole pipeline. Going to go one more step, though, in his career. This one's kicked away. Still alive, and you see once again,
not really confident, just punching the ball wherever he can, and then there was almost another Red Bull player at the end of it.
Stroud just an inch away from that one. It'll be a Red Bulls 2 throw-in. Right now, 62% possession to New York Red Bulls 2 in this game, really starting to build up the pressure and control this game more and more as it goes along.
And as I said, just a couple minutes before they scored that first goal, you finally felt like they were kind of getting their footing a little bit, getting back to that dominant style that they play. And then, of course, scoring 2 goals within 5 minutes of each other will definitely help that along. And I think, going back to what Flo was saying, the differences sometimes between the Red Bull 2 and the MLS team, how the MLS team sometimes they'll score a goal and then, okay, let's drop deeper and just be safe maybe. Whereas here is just go, go, go. And I think a lot of that comes to results, right? I mean, the results in MLS matter a little bit more. Here is more development. The results still matter for sure. But I think also it comes down to experience, right? Here you have a lot of young guys who maybe haven't been in those situations of how do we manage this game now? We're winning 3-0. We don't need both fullbacks bombing forward still. When you get to the MLS team, you have some older guys, more experienced guys. Luis in the back, I'm for sure is barking at those guys not to go forward. So I think those are the little differences that can make those differences between the two teams a little bit.
When you got into the team this year, did you feel a difference in those moments, watching how your teammates reacted, or like Hunter said, guys talking to you and changing what you were trying to do?
It's not changing. It's more of there's a little bit more pressure coming from the guys who are a little bit more experienced, of course, because they want not everything to be perfect, but you hear them more on the field.
Cross comes in from Dennis, and the run tracked there by Cutler, and he puts it straight out for a corner kick. Beautiful passing sequence down the line from Penn FC.
Yeah, so you usually look up for those guys like Bradley Phillips, Luis Robles. So when they talk, you kind of listen and try to apply what they're asking you to do. So yeah, if they ask you if they say let's drop a little bit, you're gonna drop. Here, there's no real leaders. Maybe Tenari was older, Evan Luro, but there's a more of a go, 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 as we were saying.
Corner comes in. It's headed away by Barlow. We mentioned the size advantage for Penn FC. As this one gets knocked down to the far post, Loro takes it. The collision there from Kasana after Ken Tribbett won the first header.
And that's something Red Bull 2 has to be extremely cautious about. It's not so much the first ball, it's the second one, right? So staying with runners. Fortunately there, Penn FC didn't really have any runners.
Barlow on side here, and he gets pushed off the wall by Venter.
Another great ball from Tenari again. Playing his role as a 10 really well, trying to find Barlow on the run. Unfortunately, Barlow not strong enough on duels, but good first touch, and unfortunate not to be able to have a shot on goal.
And Barlow, coming back from his defensive position, had a head of steam to blow through that back line, and Tenari put it on a dime.
Yeah, it was I mean, first of all, outside the foot pass from Tanari, and then Barlow to control that like he did with his head, with that full head of speed, as you said, was pretty remarkable. But give Penn FC credit for getting back and breaking that up.
Ken Tribbett, I said, won Defender of the Year, or midway through the season was USL Defender of the Year. In 2016, he started 19 games for the Philadelphia Union. He started the first game of the year with Bethlehem and then moved up into the MLS team. But last year, no MLS appearances, 12 starts for Bethlehem. It's Josh Elliott coming out of college, took over that spot, and Austin Trusty slowly built now into one of the most consistent defenders on the Philadelphia Union. So Ken Tribbett now the up and downs of a professional soccer career, trying to find his feet again with Penn FC having a really strong first half of the year.
They have a little bit of a pipeline down there when it comes to defenders and center backs, young guys. They've come, you know, there always seems like there's one or two new ones coming out every year.
Foot race here. Polish does just enough as Dennis puts on the pressure. Dennis, a Long Island native. Played his college soccer, though, in Philly at Villanova. Tavera into the feet of Stroud, who clips it forward for Aguinaga, and then Venter pushes it away. Aguinaga, we said, inserted late into the lineup in place of Brian White. What does he bring that's different? How does he change this attack?
He's really mobile. He's tried to get on the ball. We've seen a couple of times asking for the ball in the pockets. He brings a little bit of creativity with Jared and Tanari. It's good for him to be on the field once again. He's been on the bench a lot lately, so I hope to see good things from him and that he can show Wally what he's capable of doing.
What do you tell a guy like Aguinaga with this experience of your first professional soccer year?
It's never easy. You're going to have up and downs. I think Wally is a challenging coach. He's going to challenge him. I think he keeps challenging him at practice, and you just need to react the right way, have the right answer, and show him that you want it, and then you are applying what he's telling you to do. And then that's what I did, and I became a bit better player. And I'm really thankful to Wally about all he did for me. And I keep asking me for advice. He usually also, when I was playing beginning of the season, come to a halftime and give me 2 or 3 tips during the game. You should do this.
Ball played in on the far post. Loro's out in a dangerous area, and he's lucky to see that one bounce into his hands.
Yeah, he would come at halftime and just tell me, look at the defender. He's missing this. You should take that do this or do that. And
this is with the MLS team or with the USL team?
The MLS
so he would
team.
come down during halftime.
Yeah, and just give me 1 or 2 words because he knows me really well now. He knows how I function, and it's really nice to have that kind of advice from a coach. And I wouldn't be here without him.
When you say challenges you as a player, is it taking things you're not good at and putting you in other positions? What does that mean?
No, he's going to be hard on you. Not rudeness, I don't know if I can say this, but how you answer what he's asking, or he's going to shout at you, be mad at you, or put you on the bench, and you need to see how you react.
Lemma here clips it to the far side. An opening for Aguinaga.
No.
And it's on the outside of the net.
Great ball from Chris Lemma,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah, beautiful vision. Jose Aguinaga with a great touch. And unfortunately, it just goes a little bit wide.
Lemma there curls that one over the top. And Aguinaga trying to avoid the goalkeeper. Florian below dying over here next to me.
And it's obviously easier to see on the replay there, but he could have just slotted it straight at him. The keeper, Paiser, jumps in the air, you know. So, as we said, he's very unorthodox. You never know what to expect, but a fantastic chance from there, and I'm sure one that Aguinaga wishes he had back.
Aguinaga already an assist in this one, but he's had 2 really good looks himself to get on the score sheet. New York Red Bulls 2 leading 2-0. 19th minute goal by Andrew Tanari, assisted by Jared Stroud, and the 26th minute goal by Tom Barlow, assisted by Jose Aguinaga. Barlow getting the start, his 3rd goal of the season. David Goss, Hunter Freeman, and Florian Velo here in the booth. This is probably the closest I would ever get to winning a 3-on-3 any style championship with you two. I played pickup soccer down in Atlanta on Monday. I had Bobby Warshaw in goal behind me. He was pressing at midfield trying to win tackles. Oh. Ball laid off here. Opportunity coming to tie it.
Another great save by Evan Luro.
And Luro steps up.
Steps up big once again.
Fantastic save, and an important one too, because that goes in. It's 2-1. It's a completely different game, and you saw that last week in Tampa with that huge foot save he had when the game was tied. He's not always asked to come up with a lot of saves, but when he is, he's certainly come up big.
What do you see, though, Hunter, that's working for this Penn FC team? Because Kasana with the layoff there and an opening right inside that 18-yard box.
Yeah, Red Bull 2 sometimes can get stretched. They press you, but if you're able to beat that press, then there's a lot of space, obviously. So Penn FC has caught them a couple times when they've been able to play out of that press. That's when they've had their best chances, and then a couple other best chances have just been from Route 1. Long free kicks or a long ball over the top, and as I spoke at the beginning of the game, Lucky and Dennis have some speed up there.
A collision here between Walter Ramirez and Jared Stroud. Ramirez, one of those new additions to this squad.
I think one of the areas that New York Red Bulls needs to be aware of is balls in behind. They've given up a lot of goals coming from falling asleep, and then the opponent just playing a ball in behind. Like, it was just a chest back in the space where Hassan was stepping up, and the guy was just free by himself once again. So I think they need to be aware of this.
You see the tackle there. Stroud pulling down Ramirez.
And a little different look for this Red Bull 2 defense tonight, with both Dennis and Lucky playing up high. A lot of times the teams, especially when they play here, they come in, they have one guy up top. So the two center backs for Red Bull 2 only have one guy to deal with between the two of them. And as we know, with the outside backs on Red Bull 2 liking to go forward and press, that leaves now, especially in this game, the two center backs for Red Bull 2 one-on-one. And then, like I said, you add the speed that the Penn FC forwards have. It can be a dangerous combination. Speed
and size, though, right? Kasana and Dennis both built very strong, and the ability to get around, especially Kevin Politz, doesn't have as much speed as Hassan and Dom. As a free kick now will go in favor of New York.
I was actually impressed earlier, though, with that ball that got played over the top. And Politz and Dennis were running it down, and Dennis is not a slow guy. It maybe sometimes looks like he is because he has such a long frame and long strides, but he did very well. He anticipated. He was able to start dropping before that ball got played, and that obviously gave him the advantage.
Where's Lemma going to look to put this one?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Where would you put it?
I'm not putting it. I'm the end of it. Vincent Bezic would just put it first post, and I just hit it. It usually goes in.
Tenari takes it quickly, clips it towards the far post, no one making the run.
I mean, I think there's different plays you can have drawn up there, but I think typically the spot, at least that I like to serve it from those areas, is in between the penalty and the 6. Especially there, they're playing a really high line. You only have 7-8 yards to get the ball in behind them, so a hard-driven ball, bending ball to that near post, as you said, sometimes it doesn't have to be your own player that kicks it in, So unfortunately, Tenari hit a great ball, but I don't think his teammates were expecting it.
Nobody was. I think it was a quick replay, and then it was a good one. If they wanted, if Red Bull's players were aware of it, it would be the great one, because Penn FC was a little bit caught sleeping, but unfortunately, everybody was not paying attention to the free kick.
Andrew Tenari out here pulling the strings for New York Red Bulls, too, at the opening goal himself. As we said, coming off the top, would have a lot of pressure on his shoulders, although you've seen Stroud, you've seen Aguinaga, Barlow as well, be aggressive and try and help in the attack, or have helped in the attack. Barlow with a goal, Aguinaga and Stroud each with an assist.
And you see there, Penn FC, they're building out of the back. They have their back four, and then they only have one other guy in the half, which is Minivar, and then they have 5 guys in the other half. And it's too, for me, it's with the pressure that Red Bull 2 put under you, it's too difficult to play out like that. And that's why you see them result to that long ball, and then it's just a 50-50, and obviously Indom won that one. But that's happened to them too many times tonight. They're trying to play out of the back, but yet they have too many guys staying up forward. They got more guys come to the ball.
Galvao comes in field here and was inches away from a wonder strike. Pedro Galvao, the attacking left back out of Waterbury, Connecticut, trying at the final moments of this first half to cut this lead in half.
And that's the thing is, as soon as Red Bull 2 seem like they really have control of the game, Penn FC shows you that you fall asleep for 1 second, they still can threaten you. And that's the left back there cutting in on his right foot, and he doesn't miss by very much there at that far post.
If you're Coach Voss here, Hunter, going into halftime, what's the keys you're looking at? What's the conversation and tone like? Stroud now gets forward again. Tenari with another good look. And he puts it wide of the near post as we enter our 1 minute of stoppage time.
Well, for me, it's 2 things. Their clearances, not just that one that we just saw there. A poor clearance leads to another great chance. Here you see not the best of clearance there. And that press, that pressure that Red Bull 2 puts you under leads to that great chance for Tenari, almost getting his second tonight. So it's those clearances, Paiser's choices, obviously. Sometimes he's punching him right out to the box. But then, as I said, I think a lot of it is from their build-up out of the back. They got to get more guys closer to the ball so that they have options for those defenders to play the ball into. When they've done that, they've had those short combinations. It's led to good chances.
Tavera, interception into the path of Stroud. Tavera pushing back up the field. Echeverria clips one over the top. It's flicked on towards Barlow, but Galvao's able to get it away. Metzger back into the feet of Galvao. And that'll be the final play of this first half. Florian, you've been in a John Wolyniec locker room before. What do you think his message is going to be leading 2-0 entering halftime?
I think he probably picked up some details about defending and how Penn FC was able to create some chances. I think he's has to be on top of the details and then just stick to the game plan and still have that mentality that just go, go, go. Keep putting pressure on that team.
New York Red Bulls, too, liking what they're seeing so far. A 2-0 lead here in the first half as they look to get back to winning ways here at home. Myself, David Goss, Hunter Freeman, and Florian Velo will be back with your first half highlights and second half action coming up here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
Welcome back to MSU Soccer Park. 2-0 lead for New York Red Bulls 2 at the half. It has been an almost perfect first half for this New York Red Bull 2 team. And coming into this one, we talked about Chris Lem at the base of that midfield having to do a lot for this team without Casares next to him, without some of the guys in front of him, and he, along with Tanari, really carried the squad.
Yeah, he's had a couple great services into the box that unfortunately Red Bull 2 haven't gotten on the end of, but he's been a threat all night and really a seamless position, for Red Bull 2.
And then Lucky Kasana, the other star that we focused on, he and Dennis, a few connections, but maybe not as much as they would have liked.
Yeah, he's been a little bit quiet, but he's definitely showed a couple times a flash of why he can be that threat, why he's scored 7 goals on the season, and somebody that, especially in the second half with some tired legs that are going to happen, of course, that Red Bull 2 defense has to keep an eye on.
New York Red Bulls 2 leading 2-0 at the half. They get a nice little homestand coming up here at MSU Soccer Park. They home game next week against Louisville City, who just announced their new head coach, John Hackworth, and then North Carolina FC coming in here about 11 days later. So this, the best rest and one of the best homestands of the season for New York Red Bulls 2, and they will look to take advantage, leading 2-0 here, trying to open it up with 3 points. When we come back, we'll have first half highlights and second half action here on ESPN+.
What a goal! Sandoval with an incredible bicycle! How did that go in?
Nice through ball for Williams, he scores!
Takes it to the byline, squares it across, they score!
Dennis still on the move, showing great strength. Dennis lets it fly! Sensational from Aaron Dennis, he equalizes in the 72nd minute.
Chang inside to Sebastian Velasquez, shot and a goal! Sebastian Velasquez!
What did I tell you? That's the Monarchs game.
He cuts back to his left foot, he's gonna chip the keeper! Oh, an early goal! Sensational from Anthony Burke-Gilroy! Sounders on top in the 2nd minute. Here, Rasmussen strikes on goal, and it's in the back of the net! Rasmussen has put OKC in front, 1-0.
Here's Stroud in the 18, takes a shot and buries it far post at the start.
Point blank save!
Bonomo the touch, Fleming's the shot.
Quick run up, straight into Ferrigno. A shot, and what a save. Malcolm. Ball ricochets out in front, and a save by Cardoni.
Coffin leaves a shot, Serta knocks it down.
Long strike, and a spectacular save by Restrepo. Knocked away by Marszałkowski.
Through. Could this be a chance for Fernando? Up by Kuzminski, again blocked by Kuzminski.
This will come to Dillon, nice save again by McIntosh.
More pressure, right side, shot taken, Mizell denies again.
Taylor with an effort, a good save. As Rasmussen will strike from a long way out, forcing a brilliant save.
Here's a shot, and what a save there from Tambakis.
Left-footed ball from Vukovic, curling there, header, and a save.
Bird into space, saved.
Isaac Diaz, the shot, and the goal.
Into the 18, oh my!
One-time rip and a goal.
Here, Brody's inside the 18, Brody with a shot! And a goal!
An incredible week of action in USL, and Devin Sandoval. Big Dev getting on the scoreboard, his first in his ACL UTD career. Hunter, I mean, this is how you write it up, draw it up.
You can't ask for a better first goal. And I mean, that is way more difficult than he makes it look. He's going away from the goal, the ball's straight over his head, and he just says, you know what, let me try this, and good thing he did, because a fantastic goal for him and Atlanta United too.
ACL UTD 2 star Andrew Carlton winning MLS Homegrown Player MVP. Nico Rietmeyer, Charleston, once again dominant in the Eastern Conference, up to second place now as they pass Bob Lilly and the Pittsburgh Riverhounds trying to chase down FC Cincinnati, and Rittmeyer doing everything he could in his last game with 2 goals to try and push his team in. We take a look now at the team of the week. Foster Langsforth and Stefano Bonomo up top. Bonomo 2 goals for the Tampa Bay Rowdies. Hector Jimenez at left back. We talked about Rittmeyer. And then Brendan Aronson, just 17 years old, out of the Philadelphia Union Academy, scores his first career goal for Bethlehem Steel, playing in that attacking midfield position for Bethlehem and helping them to a win. Let's take a look at this first half stats from this one. We talked about the possession. Penn FC grew a bit more as that first half went along, but 55%. And you look at the shots and shots on goal, Penn FC not generating a whole lot of offense.
Yeah, they had a lot of what I would call half chances where the ball was flicked on, but they didn't have a runner. Remember that one, the big center back headed down, but they didn't, from a free kick, that they didn't have runners. And then it's almost seemed like as soon as they've had great chances, it's led to either a goal or a great chance for Red Bull 2. So something definitely to keep track of here in the second half.
New York Red Bulls 2 enjoying this one so far. You look at the fouls and you see that difference in Penn FC at times right now, chasing in the midfield. Some great young talent out on the field and some excited young fans out in the stands getting ready for the second half. Ben Mines coming off his MLS homegrown debut in the last game, an option off the bench for this New York Red Bull 2 team, and we'll see what Coach Foss has up his sleeve to try and push Penn FC back into this one. We'll be back in a few moments with their second half coming up here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
Two teams back out on the field ready for the second half. But first, let's take a look at how we got to this 2-0 scoreline. And Hunter, danger early for New York Red Bulls 2 showed what this first half would be like.
Yeah, and it seems that all their chances have come from these crosses in these wide areas. Flo referenced it earlier, just before they started getting these chances. They needed to attack those spaces, and apparently they were listening to him up here in the booth, because he did. And again, we've talked about Paiser. He's very, very unorthodox. He gives up a lot of rebounds. His decision-making is not great.
And immediately, New York Red Bulls 2 push to get to that end line, and Tenari gets the opening goal.
Yeah, we talked Stroud, his 7th assist of the season. He's finding these crosses, and it really, for me, what stands out there is his decision-making. He could have decided to fire it across the box, but instead he picks his head up, finds Tenari making that late run, cuts it back, and a great finish from Tenari.
Jose Aguinaga couldn't get that goal. but he's able to get an assist as Tom Barlow gets his name on the score sheet.
And similar to that first goal, except for the ball got played in the right position, I think, for that one. Credit Barlow busting his rear end to get there, and an easy tap in.
Almost 3-0 for New York. Tenari just a few inches wide.
And once again, it's coming, these balls played in these wide channels. Red Bull 2's getting behind the defense of Penn FC and crossing the ball into the box. Very simple. Nothing spectacular, but effective nonetheless. And again, here you see Tenari just missing this one at the near post.
If you're Coach Wolonek, what do you want to see to start this second half? Because we look at the highlights from that first half, and the big chances, except for one that fell to Ramirez, all came New York's way. How do you start this second half?
Well, I think you want to definitely pick up where you ended, put them under pressure, because I think when Penn FC, you almost want to bait them into playing out of the back, and as soon as they play the ball short, then put them under pressure, because their team, the gap between the back four and then the midfield and the forwards has been way too big for me, for my liking, and it's resulted, and then when Red Bull 2 put them under that pressure, it's a long ball, long forward, and fortunately for Red Bull 2, Penn FC hasn't really been able to get on the end of many of them.
For Penn FC, they'd love to get some points out of this one. As you see, they head to FC Cincinnati, the best team in the league, their next game, which also could potentially be the debut of Fernando Adi, the big designated player striker that they bring in. Then they've got 3 more in a row on the road before they finally come home, as they are hoping to turn this run around. It looks like are preparing their first sub of the game here. Or Penn FC, as you see Isaac Osei, the 24-year-old out of Ghana, making his 8th appearance of the year.
And I think for him, he'll be a like-for-like switch for Aaron Dennis. Very similar build, types of players, big frame, has some pace, look to use his body and get in behind.
The other substitution here, it looks like for Penn FC, Prince Bafo coming on, another young Ghanaian player making his 8th appearance as well. So Florian Clear from Penn FC, not happy with what they saw in the first half, making 2 of their 3 changes right out of the halftime whistle.
Yeah, but I think more impact in the attacking part of the field.
First chance to get on the ball there from Bafo. Now immediately a chance out of the halftime whistle. And fortunate for New York Red Bulls maybe that Bafo wasn't ready on that chance and had to take that extra dribble.
Yeah, I mean, you got to get a shot off there. And I mean, he finds himself wide open at the top of the 18. And I think, like you said, it may be just because he came in and he wasn't quite ready. But look, gets his head up. I don't even have a bad, I don't mind him cutting that ball there. But the fact that he cuts it into 3 players, you got to take the shot there, especially your team's down 2-0.
Yeah, his first shot was really good. He had a good open eye on the goal, and then I think he wanted to try to make it like a bit closer. Luckily, Kevin Pullis caught him really wide away.
Ooh. This one goes over Loro and rolls out over the end line. We saw New York get an early chance in the first half. How does this early chance here affect the way that the opening 10-15 minutes of the second half go?
Well, if you're Penn FC, this is exactly what you want coming out of the locker room, and it also looks like Voss, he's changed the formation. He's playing 3 center backs. He's pushed Franco up almost as a 5th, a wing back, and now you have Ramirez sliding over to the left-hand side playing the wing back on this side. So a change in formation, and it's led to some pretty decent chances so far. I mean, it's early. We're only 2 minutes into this half, but right now they look like a completely different team.
Prince here charging up the field. Tavera able to recover. Prince bringing his presence, though, already in that central midfield. And now Metzger bringing up that line of confrontation. And Politz at the last moment knocking it away. New York Red Bulls 2 on a foul called there, but it'll be a corner kick.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Voss and you see you've inserted Prince into this match, and within 2-3 minutes, he's been their most dangerous player on multiple different occasions. So fantastic. You like, if you're Voss, you're feeling good about that decision right now.
Corner kick coming now. It'll be Menjivar to take. Drilled into the top of the 6. Politz knocks it down. Second shot is blocked by Stroud. Now New York trying to clear their lines. Ball played straight down the middle. Echeverria wins the initial one. That one was postmarked for Lucky Kasana, but not able to make it there. Penn FC coming out of the gates with a lot of confidence and energy to start this second half.
And this is where the Red Bull 2 players, being young, they gotta learn how to adjust on the fly a little bit, right? So Wallynek went into the halftime.
Good dangerous look right now. And Laura punches it away.
So Wallynek goes into halftime. He's not knowing that they're going to make these two changes and switch formations. So now all of a sudden, maybe perhaps what he said at halftime is out the window a little bit. And now it's up to the players on the field to recognize it. First of all, recognize, okay, look, they're playing with three in the back. They're pushing the two wing backs high. They got an extra guy now in the midfield. These are things that you got to pick up as a young player.
Corner kick played in, headed down off of Hassan Endam. And then cleared. Galvao now looking for a second opportunity. New York's able to handle that one simply. Aginaga picks up a nice little meg down there on the sideline, and then a free kick in his favor. Florian, from your experience, is Coach Wolnick immediately giving out instructions now, or is he allowing his players out there to try and figure it out?
No, I think he's trying to give a lot of instruction, but it's really hard to try to direct the team from the bench. And I think players should try to recognize themselves how the opponent is playing and what are the changes they need to make in order to adjust to it. So it's never easy, especially for young players, to adjust to like a team that is changing.
Another chance here, knocked away.
I mean, look, the reality for a coach is you really have two opportunities to maybe coach in a game, and that's before, right, which you've already probably prepared your team leading up in the week, and then at halftime to make some adjustments. And then, of course, yes, you can bark orders from the sideline, and sometimes it's easier and other times difficult, but that's where you need the leaders on the team, like a Tonari. He needs to be the one. He's one of the most experienced guys on the team. Lauro in the back who can see the formation. Start barking these orders to the players and make sure that they know, hey, they've changed formations. They're overloading the midfield now a little bit. They got guys on both inlines with the wing backs. So these are things that the players have to take responsibility of just as much as Wally does.
Offside flag goes up there against Osei. You can see Metzger playing higher up the field now for this Penn FC team.
Yeah, before it was Minivar and Metzger right next to each other, just the two of them in the middle. And now Minivar sitting deeper, Metzger's pushed up alongside Prince. So it's a different look, certainly. And it's causing some problems for Red Bull, too.
Aginaga and Galvao colliding there. So Galvao will go from left back to left center back. Cutler gets it into the feet of Stroud. De Vera now coming forward. His low cross gets through everyone. Back to Aginaga. Still alive and cleared now by Penn FC.
Fantastic ball from De Vera.
Ball down the line there to Osei. Osei looking for the big switch to the field. Penn FC looking to open their scoring. And that ball just behind, it looked like Kasana. When you go, Lemma sprays this ball long for Stroud. Stroud now charging forward with space, and he puts it behind Barlow. Hunter, when you go from 4 to 3 in the back, obviously a guy like Galvao is going to come in field for the two center backs. How does their role change?
Well, there's a lot more space to have to cover, and you see it there because obviously they're going to send those wing backs high. They need to get a goal to get back into this game. Now those three center backs have the entire width of the field, to deal with, and most of the time a center back doesn't really like to get dragged further out wide than the width of the box. So you see there, those spaces are going to be on for Red Bull 2, certainly, and they found it there with De Vera earlier where he fired that ball across, and unfortunately there wasn't a forward in the box for Red Bull 2.
Kasana was away there. Politz makes a slide tackle. The offside flag, though, did go up against the Zimbabwean. But Penn FC still causing some question marks with this new lineup. Florian has Red Bulls, too, asking some questions.
Yeah, it seems that as we speak during the first half, like how they try to handle those two strikers, I think they still have trouble to do it. We're lucky, like Red Bulls 2 is lucky not to get caught in behind, because our two center backs from Red Bulls 2 having trouble dealing with the two striker from Penn FC. So they should try to make those adjustments quickly before getting scored on, and then which was supposed to be like a game under control, would be like a tough time for the second half to end the game in a win.
Franco charging forward. Politz making the heroic tackle at the near post. Tracking that ball for about 45 yards.
That was just a fantastic run. Franco just said, you know what, I think I have a bit more pace here than De Vera. And then obviously sends a low hard cross into the box, and unfortunately just can't quite get onto the end of it. But again, this has been a fantastic, 10 minutes so far for Penn FC.
Wins the first header. This one now clipped back into the box. The second header won by New York. Now the shot ripped, and Lauro equal to the task. What a difference Bafo Prince has made for Penn FC in just the 8 minutes he's been out there on the field in that center midfield position.
Yeah, I mean, earlier when he had that chance at the top of the box, 2 minutes into the second half, I thought, okay, maybe he doesn't strike the ball that great. He was, maybe he's more left-footed than he's right. But after seeing that strike, I mean, I'm still wondering why he didn't shoot the first one earlier. But hits it on the half volley. He catches it perfect. And it's a great save from Lauro because it comes through a lot of traffic. Sometimes as a goalkeeper, you see that one late. I think, fortunately, it wasn't as far into the corner as it maybe looked initially.
Stroud gets by one defender. Trying to link up with Aguinaga. And now Ramirez back immediately running the other way. Penn FC not trying to waste any time, as they've got a hill to climb to get back into this one. De Vera heading this one away. So, Florian, you see a team come out 3-5-2 against what Red Bulls normally plays in a 4-3-3. As Stroud now going back the other way. For you as a winger, as Stroud and Aguinaga, how do you adjust to this new style? How do you adjust to those wing backs and those center mids offensively or defensively?
I think those wing backs should be taken care of by the Red Bulls outside back, which I think Nico De Vera and Ethan Cutler are going to have to sit a bit back a little bit more, which means that Jared Stroud and Jose Aguinaga are going to have more space in the wing. And so I would suggest, what I would do is stay high to keep that gap, keep that space, and then go at defenders like Jared did early on in the second half.
Metzger now pushing forward. New York Red Bulls, too, have had some good looks in this half as well. We expect goals here. And this one's headed down and saved by Lauro, followed by Kasana. And Penn FC have the breakthrough.
I hate to say it, but you could see it coming. I mean, Ose, fantastic there to get on the end of it. A fantastic save from Lauro. And Lucky's there to clean it up. But, I mean, it's been coming. You could feel it. They've had chance after chance. And going back to what Florian was saying, it's like there's two different ways you can kind of adjust if you're Red Bull 2 to this 3-5-2, if you will. I like what Florian said. I think that the outside backs for Red Bull 2 should take care of the wing backs, and then you can drop one of your midfielders a little bit deeper to help your two center backs, because Penn FC is playing with two forwards. So you need to give them help, or else everybody's it's 1v1 all across the field. And then on the flip side, you leave your attackers up high, and they can exploit. They find themselves with a lot of space because, again, those three center backs, they don't want to get dragged out wide and find themselves defending, you know, Stroud or Aguinago one-on-one out wide.
The way you're describing this sounds like when you were saying a little bit of the difference between MLS and USL. And MLS, maybe you drop deep and play a little bit safer, but you're talking about trying to take advantage of what Penn FC is now exposing because they need goals.
Yeah, and I think Penn FC took advantage of the little problems that Red Bulls had in the past. Like, once again, like last week, they gave up a goal on a cross once, and we could have probably seen it before it came. Like in the first half, like we've seen, like they've been in danger.
Yellow card coming out here as Ose's elbow came a little bit high into the back of Pollitt. So Penn FC, Lucky Kasana gets his 8th goal of the season here in the 58th to make it 2-1. You guys, either way, you expect a lot of goals left in this game. Penn FC leaving themselves a bit exposed at the back, and they're going to keep winning headers in the box, no matter what New York Red Bulls do.
It's becoming a more open game. I think it's kind of an attack defense right now. Penn FC is leaving those two strikers up top, and then Red Bulls has to deal with those two. And then when Red Bull gets the ball back, they try to find those wide spots with Jared Stroud and Jose Aguinaga and try to attack from those wide areas. So I think, as you said, I think we can expect more goals, and it's probably going to be a fun second half to watch.
New York Red Bulls, too, have their first substitute up and ready to go here. As we approach the 60th minute, Metzger gets by Endom. Pollitt is able to read it. Two former Red Bull Academy players going up against each other. And now it'll be the substitute for New York coming on here for just the second time. Alan Yanez, Guatemalan Youth International fullback, joining the team 2 weeks ago. Made his debut a couple minutes off the bench last week, and now he comes on for Ethan Cutler here in the 60th minute with a team that's under pressure.
Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely get to see you know, what he's like under pressure. That's what you want to see. I mean, sometimes as outside back, when the team is doing well and you can go forward, that's the best way to come into a match. But I'm sure Walinek and the Red Bull organization, they want to see what this guy can do defensively when he's under pressure, when maybe things aren't going, you know, as you drew him up before the game. And again, I got to give a lot of credit to Raul Voss for this change at halftime. I mean, his team looks completely different. They've caused fits all throughout this second half. And I also wonder, you know, does Wally maybe think to switch to a 5-man? Because it's something that they've played before. I think actually the first game of the year they played 5-man back. And I know, you know, it can depend, obviously, you know, who you have available to you.
Well, the MLS team started the year in a 5-man back line until Tim Parker really settled in, and this team did as well. Scarlett was playing in the center of it. They do have Wahab Akwi, a center back, on the bench, and Andrew Lombard, who's on the bench for the 3rd time this season, has struggled with injuries the last year and a half, yet to make his USL debut out of the Red Bulls Academy, a former U.S. Youth International. We've also got Lucas Stauffer, normally a fullback, and then Scott Levine, the backup goalkeeper, and Ben Mines on the bench, who can potentially sub on and bring some speed. Only 17 on the bench for Coach Wolinek. Not the full 18 for this game. So it'll be Menjivar to take. He clips it in towards the far post. And Dom wins the first header. Now New York looking to break out. It looked like over the course of that play, Bafo Prince pushed down Tenari to stop the break and then went and fouled Jared Stroud through the back.
He's out there covering some ground, and you can tell that he's feeling confident. I mean, he didn't score, but it was his chance that fell. You know, Laura made the great save and then fell to the feet of Lucky. But, you know, as a coach, this is where, you know, this is where you get paid the big bucks. You don't always want to change just because the other team has changed. You don't want to make a knee-jerk reaction. I think that's what Wally's doing right now. He's giving his team time to see if they can figure this out. But eventually, you know, maybe you go to that 5-man back line, and then it just makes every player's role more defined when you can match up evenly, you know, against the team that's playing the same formation. Sometimes that clarity is what the players need.
New York Red Bull 2 MVP Willie Whitelaw did point out that the MLS team played a 5-man back line against Columbus last week in a 3-2 loss. That one at Red Bull Arena. Of course, New York Red Bulls will be back in action on Sunday, hosting LAFC for the first time as Bob Bradley returns to his native New Jersey. Some ping pong being played here.
Yeah, I think what we've seen in the first 20 minutes of the second half is that Penn FC is winning first and second balls, which we're not doing in the first half, and they're winning the midfield battle right now, and then we can see they taking an edge on Red Bulls too.
Tenari here in a battle. He's able to win possession. Barlow now. He's got bodies around him. He's able to at least keep the ball for New York. Now Yanez to the feet of Aguinaga. Looking for the return pass. Yanez is going to get there. He cuts it back, and eventually it makes it into the safe hands there of Pizer.
It's a good look at what Yanez can bring, especially going forward. You know, he plays very simple. It's just a simple pass, and then he continues his run. Unfortunately, I think he was doing the right thing, trying to cut that ball back. You see Barlow just pull his run off there at the last second, but the ball gets deflected. You know, I think if this game is open and it's that back and forth that Flo was talking about, it suits Penn FC better because that's what they want. They have that speed up top, and you get into those, you know, back and forth in the track meet. That's kind of what they're good at, right? So if you're Red Bull, sometimes maybe just put your foot on the ball when you have it. Take a deep breath, get compact. You know, get back to that possession that you like to play. Possession with a purpose, obviously, but. You know, so far this second half, I think everything is really played in the hands of Penn FC.
Voting is open this weekend for USL's monthly awards. Have your say in the votes for Player of the Month, Goal of the Month, and Save of the Month at uslsoccer.com. Free kick coming now for New York. Looks like it'll be Chris Lemma. His left-footed service from a similar area. Got New York tied 2-2 down in Tampa. Looks like New York's preparing their second sub of the game to come on. Lemma puts this one in. Pizer's down on the ground. It's alive in the box, and it's kicked wide.
I mean, if you're Red Bull 2, you have to be paying attention because even when he comes out, you got to be looking for where that ball's going because he's yet to, I think, catch the ball on any kind of cross or long ball.
So now Tenari to take this corner kick. Looks like Ben Mines will be the substitute. Talking now with Ibrahim Sakaya. Last few moments. Ball clipped in. Aguinaga trying to keep it alive. Endom going up. Can't win the second ball, and Barlow loses it to Tribbett, who clears it. And New York wins another free kick. And there is an offside flag up on the other side of the field, so we'll see if that overrides the free kick. As Pizer now has run about 50 yards out of his own goal, or excuse me. Sorry, I don't want to be extreme. 30. Those French, you know, Florian.
I don't know
Very
what
dramatic.
yours looks like. It's meters for me. But
if you're Andrew Tenari, though, on that corner kick, you got to put it closer to Pizer. Like Hunter said, right? Make him make a play, even if it's a simple one, to see if he can.
they have tall center backs, Penn FC, so it's difficult to try and score on a floater, like a ball, like a really high ball with less pace. So what I would do is probably take the corner kick towards the first post with a little bit more pace and power, and try to make Pizer come out of his goals and then make a save and once they as we talked about, like releasing maybe on the Red Bull player and just scoring a tap in.
This ball clipped back in as Penn FC starts to pour on the pressure. Chance coming here maybe. Ramirez down the line for Kasana. And he slips on his cutback. And Aginaga puts his foot through that clearance. New York forced to scramble right now. Now Lemma pushing it up. Barlow gets there first. Venter's at least able to push it back up the field, and now Penn FC in possession. New York Red Bulls 2 scored the opener in the 19th minute, followed that up 7 minutes later to make it 2-0, and looked like they might be cruising in this one. But guys, this second half has been anything but that, as this Penn FC team has poured on some pressure and really caused trouble for the home team. Right now, Penn FC looking more likely team to get the next goal.
Yeah, they're putting more pressure on the Red Bull team, putting more physicality into the game. And they've done a better job with the ball, keeping the ball and then trying to build up towards goal.
And I really credit a lot of that just to the switch of formation, because it's done two things. It's given them that extra guy in the middle, so now they can match up with the Red Bulls 3, which they were kind of getting overloaded a lot, especially when they were trying to play out in the first half. You didn't really mention Menjivar Metzger's name in the first half too much, and that's because they were having to bypass them every time. Now Prince has come in, and he's given them a completely different look and a lot of energy. Same thing with Osa up top. And then the three in the back, it's pretty simple for them. They kind of match up with the three. They have Barlow as the target, and then one guy marking Aginaga, who's now leaving the match, and the other one with Stroud. So it's, define their roles a little bit. And then obviously they found that goal early, and it's just given the energy. And as you said, now you see the fight that Flo talks about. They're being physical. They're using that maybe, old man strength, I say, a little bit against a younger team.
You also see Metzger playing high, winning those second balls is
being more
Red
active
Bulls
right
too,
now.
yeah, not winning a lot of these long balls, and Isaac Osei has been a nightmare for this Red Bull 2 backline so far.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That when Penn FC is winning the ball in the second half, they're at midfield or in the attacking half. And in the first half, when they were winning the ball, they were in their defensive third. So now they have, 70, 80 yards to go, and that gets difficult on players' legs. And vice versa. Red Bull was doing that really good in this first half, and now they've fallen off.
Ben Mines coming on here for Jose Aginaga. So it'll be a like-for-like change on that right side. Dangerous chance now for Penn FC to get out in possession. Early shot, cross to the far side, and Yanez able to track and head it away.
That's a key header there from Yanez, because Lucky's sitting there on the back post, and you could see he was going to chest it and try to bring it down. Well done to track back there from Yanez.
It'll be Ramirez to take. All 11 players for New York are back defensively in the box. Headed down at the far post, still won by Penn FC, and a flag goes up on that far side. Either for coming over the back.
I think they called Lucky offsides
for
there.
being offside.
Interesting one. I assume that there was nobody on the post then, because...
Yeah, Kasana coming back from an offside position. What do you make of the 70 minutes for Jose Aginaga in this one? We said late addition to the starting lineup, ends up having an assist.
Yeah, I think an assist, could have had another goal and another assist. I think it was a good shift. He looked really tired at the end of the game. I think it's because he's a lack of rhythm right now. But it's good to see him back into the lineup. He's been showing good things. I think he needs might need to. Wally's probably going to talk to him about like little details that he has to do better. But it's really encouraging to see him on the field and having an assist. So it's good for his confidence.
And being a part of the first team, watching now, training with Ben Mines, what do you make of this young player? Scored as a 17-year-old on his MLS debut, but still has a ways to go to get to where I think the Red Bulls club expects him to be.
Unfortunately, he had like injuries during the season, which is it's not really easy as a soccer player when you're always injured in your first season. You want to show. I think he showed a lot during preseason, and then for his first game scoring in the 17th minute as a 17-year-old guy, it's just amazing. I think he has a lot of potential, and then I think you just need to be healthy and then go through a full season, a full regular season with the USL All first team, and I think we could see really great things coming from him.
Do you think that that wide position is the position he'll stick in?
Yeah, because he's a guy with a lot of pace.
Chance now for Ramirez to get into the box, and inches away at that far post was Osei. Now headed away by Politz.
Yeah, Penn FC keep attacking on those wide areas, trying to find the main target, Jose.
Now Mines breaking out. That ball behind him, so he's got to pull up for it. He's got white shirts all around him. He's trying to dribble straight up the middle, and Galvao with the slide tackle.
Again, I've been really impressed with Prince since he came in the second half. And you saw there, Yenis went to put pressure on Ramirez, which brings him out of that back four, and then Prince makes that run right into that space that he had vacated and finds himself all alone. And just misses Osei on that cross, but he's been a menace for sure for this Red Bull 2 team since he's come in.
Playing with a lot of energy in that midfield, covering a whole lot of ground, as we see here.
What I like that he did there is Yenis recovers well, but Prince gets his body just in front of him there, and Yenis is smart because if he continues, it's a foul and he's in the box and it's a penalty. So he has to, pull up a little bit there, but it's a clever use of your body there from Prince.
Stroud now pushing. New York would love to find the third and try and break the spirit of Penn FC. And Barlow had the opportunity. That ball bouncing to him on the top of the 6, and he just couldn't wrap his foot over it.
Yeah, great ball from Chris Lima. Bouncing, hard for a striker to try to tap it in, but it happens. It happens even to the best players. It will come. He already has one today. Hopefully he's get another one. But once I get like a quick 2-touch build-up, and then a quick cross across the goal, and then Barlow at the end of it.
Penn FC preparing their final substitution here. Up off the bench at midfield, so that'll come in just a moment.
Oh, come on.
And a foul called against Barlow. And then Pizer goes sliding into the legs of Ben Mines well after the whistle. And we'll see the the assistant referee is out on the field to talk to our head officials, the crowd calling for it. So Eric Tattersall.
I really want to see what he does here because that was bad. I agree with the first call there. Barlow kind of gets his arms around him. So it was a good call from the ref there, but the whistle was, a good 2-3 seconds, and then that play between Pizer and Mines, and the ref's talking here with his linesman on this side. It's had the perfect angle, but look, the referee's standing there. He's already called the foul, and it's just silly there. I mean, there's no reason for it. Only something bad's going to happen, either an injury or get yourself thrown out of the match. I mean, on there it doesn't look too bad, but there's no reason for it, and you never want to see that.
Romuald Pizer, 38-year-old out of Falsbourg, France. He was at the San Francisco Deltas last year in an NASL championship. He also proposed to his fiance, or his now fiance, on the field before a game. A yellow card coming here for Pizer. And you got to say, that's probably fortunate for Pizer. It wasn't maybe dangerous, but it was
just silly.
Yeah.
It's silly. I mean, again, there's no reason for it. And now that you do that, all you give the referee an opportunity to have to make a decision. And it could have been red, it could have been yellow. I mean, I think after seeing it on the replay there, it wasn't as egregious as maybe we thought initially. So I don't have, a problem with it just being a yellow. But again, it's just Pizer puts himself in a bad position. And now he's playing with a card, for these last 15 minutes or so. So just a silly play on his part. But fortunately, for Ben and for Red Bull too, he's not injured.
And last sub of the game here for Penn FC. It'll be Martinez to go off. And it will be Hunter Freeman's former teammate, Calvin Resende, just 25 years old out of Greenwich, Connecticut, to come on the field. I'm going to give the fans a quick rundown of the type of player Resende is.
Well, first of all, he's probably one of the best pros and hardest workers you'll ever see. Can play a number of positions. It's interesting to see him line up here left back. I think that might be, or left wing back. I don't think I've ever seen him play there. Typically a guy who played, wide in the midfield or centrally in the midfield. So you can see him slotting in there. He'll know the role for sure. But a very technical player, good with both right and left foot. Has an engine to get up and down, which is, I'm sure, why he's playing in this wing back role.
And of course, as a UVA guy, just intelligent and ready to play anywhere.
Yeah, he was at UVA, but he wasn't there for very long.
No, he was not.
I wasn't either, but I definitely stayed longer than him.
A lot of value in education from the Freeman family.
Yeah.
Offside flag goes up. The other part of that play, whatever that play was, and then the referee call was, took a little bit of time. It took a little bit of energy, it feels like, out of the game as Penn FC was starting to pour on some pressure.
And it might have almost been a good thing because it was getting a little chippy.
Right.
And sometimes something like that can actually make the game it can go one of two ways. Now guys are like, oh, wow, this, we need to get back, or, maybe a little bit of revenge per se. But I think, like you said, because it took a little while, it kind of took the steam out of the game.
Which is what New York wants, leading 2-1, 2 goals in the first half. Lucky Cassano with his 8th goal of the season in the 58th minute to cut the deficit, but Penn FC still trying to get all the way back here. David Goss, Hunter Freeman, and Florian Velo on the call for you here on ESPN+. USL Soccer coming up all weekend. The Ottawa Fury hosting a match as well tonight. 2 games on the USL slate. Penn FC pulling apart this New York Red Bulls 2 team in the second half as Dan Metzger comes flying out of midfield. Resende immediately getting it back into play.
And this is a position we haven't seen this Red Bull 2 team in, especially here at home. 10 minutes left, only up a goal, and kind of your back's against the wall with Penn FC having the better of play this second half. So I look forward to seeing how these young guys react. These are the situations that you're gonna find yourself if you get to the first team for sure.
Mistake there, and Tenari jumps on it. Galvao, though, with an aggressive tackle, he wins possession. Now Tenari fights back and gets it. New York trying to play out of some pressure here and see if they can create that third chance. A mistake from Ben Mines. Galvao and Resende battling away. Stroud here with a little bit of space, looking for Mines, who's offside. And that tap in from Barlow will not count. And Pizer unhappy, I think, with Barlow still finishing that chance. You can see the idea here, Hunter.
Yeah, it was much better. Probably one of their best sequences of this second half. I mean, a lot of it came down just to battling, right? Tenari winning that ball back initially, and then those short combinations that they do so well. And unfortunately, Ben Mines is just a step offside there.
Resende pinching in off the wing, well across the field. That one tapped away just before Metzger gets there. For New York Red Bulls 2, these last 10 minutes, what's the focus for them? How do they try and see this game out?
I think they need to have more control on the ball, keep the possession a little bit. Penn FC have been clear dominating the second half, trying to target that Jose up top, and then Jose trying to put the ball back on the ground and play. So they try to play off him. We can see that New York Red Bulls are a little bit shaky right now. They don't know how to handle the game at 2-1. The 2-1 lead is never easy, especially at home. So those next 10 minutes are going to be really important. Even the next 5 minutes, not to give up a goal so close to the end of the game.
When the game's ping-pong like this, because Penn FC isn't really worried about keeping the ball on the ground. They're winning everything in the air. Yeah. How do you, as a possession-based team, try and take control or try and get back some of the control of this game?
New York Red Bull is not more of a possession team. They're more trying to play against the ball. They like to press. But right now, the press is a little bit all over the place. They're a little bit late. So it creates a lot of gaps, and Penn FC has been able to take advantage of those gaps. I think they just need their main guys that love to possess the ball, like Chris Lima or Andre Tenari, to be able to pause the game. And even Jared Stroud on the wing, we can do a really good job about it. But they need guys to be able to be calm on the ball and then try to direct what their teammates should do to be able to keep the ball.
Pollitt's able to intercept that one.
Yeah, like Chris Lima playing back to Evan and then trying to build up from there. But playing long balls has not been effective, and if New York Red Bulls keep doing so, it's going to be a really long end of the game for them.
Neither team in possession right now. Putting their foot on the ball. Metzger flicks that one on. Yanez here in a dangerous situation. He turns it over, and De Vera comes back and recovers in front of Kasana. Yanez still down, holding his face.
I think it's his shoulder. I think might have dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. They were kind of, wrestling for the ball there, and he went down kind of awkwardly. I think, like you said, Flo, it looks like maybe it gets pulled out a little bit. You'll see here, he's shielding him. He has that right arm extended, trying to hold him off, and
his arm back and put all his weight on his arm. Might have put his shoulder out of his socket. So
we were talking about Flo trying to get on the ball, and then New York, every opportunity there, continuing to head it straight up the middle of the field, not getting possession, and you end up with a fullback on a center forward in a dangerous position.
Yeah, and then Penn FC wants those strikers to battle for the ball, and then they've taken the edge over the course of the game, and then Hassan and Dam and Kevin Paulus don't know how to handle those two strikers, and we've seen that could have been another big chances for Penn FC when Jose almost chasing the ball back, almost got it, and went 1v1 against Evan Luro.
Get an inside look at life on and off the field from a player's perspective every Wednesday evening in the latest edition of From the Pitch on USLsoccer.com. You can also stay up to date with all the best from social media around the USL by watching Off the Post with Kelsey Steele every Friday evening on the USL's social media channels. Yanez now walking off with the trainer. You get a shot there of Echeverria. New York Red Bulls, too, still have one sub that Coach Walnut can use.
Looks like Yanis is all right, or we might see Lucas Stoffer taking the right spot.
Now it looks like Stoffer putting his bib back on. So the expectation that Yanez can continue. So New York Red Bulls, too, playing a man down now. You'd expect Echeverria to drop into that right back position, but this is not a game the way it's playing out where you want to be man down, especially a defender.
I mean, look, there's only 3-4 minutes left in regulation, and as a coach, it's you never want to take a player out, especially one that you've just subbed into the match. But you got to figure out a way to close the game out, and you only have a few minutes. You gotta make a decision and live with it.
Yanez being tested over there by the trainer. Pizer knocks it forward. Politz with a good aggressive play to get there. Barlow onside, held on by Galvao. And now he gets help from his teammates. Stroud coming forward, cuts back to his right foot, clips it on for Barlow, who's onside. And now the flag goes up. Just at the last moment there, Tom Barlow thought he had his second goal of the game.
Yeah, it's a Great chip from Jared with a great vision. Barlow by himself in the middle of the box, and unfortunately he's marked offside, but once again it's a good play from New York Red Bulls too.
A massive collision there in midfield as Yanez is back on and already being effective. You see the replay of that one going into the back of the net, but not counting. New York Red Bulls to a 19th and 26th minute goal to take a 2-0 commanding lead into halftime. And the second half has been all Penn FC. Possession over the course of this game now in a 51-49 lead for Penn FC. At halftime, that was about 55% to New York, so that tells you how this second period has played out. Trip it up the field. Kasana to the feet of Prince. He's got options to the side. Finally pushes it wide for Marco. Down at the near post, and it goes through everyone. And out. And there are bodies strewn across the field. Both these teams right now giving up everything to try and get the full points out of this one.
Yeah, this is a great ball from Franco. He puts it in an extremely dangerous area, and I'm not sure how someone, whether it was a Red Bull 2 player or a Penn FC player, didn't somehow get that, get a touch on the end of that. But I thought there Prince was going to let one go from about 35 yards out, and I was wondering what he was doing because he had Franco wide open, but he just baited De Vera in a little bit more and then played the right pass wide there. But definitely one of the best chances for Penn FC in this second half.
The trainer being called back out on the field here as Kevin Politz is down with an injury.
This looks more like a cramp. Evan Laro's stretching those calves.
Either that or Evan Laro's the worst athletic trainer out there.
Well, I'm sure he's not as good as the guy jogging on the field right now, that's for sure. And this can also be a little bit of gamesmanship. You know, it's not the worst of play if you're up 2-1, 90th minute. Let your team, and your team's been under pressure, you know, let them get a breather, collect their thoughts, and hopefully close this game out with just the extra time left.
There'll be a minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time here, but this injury passing in, you can tell Voss probably wants more. There have been a few moments where the referees had to stop play in this second half. It looks like Wahab Akwi is going to be the third and final sub. So he'll come on for Politz. New York won't have to play man down once again here. Akwi, the young Ghanaian center back, has filled in when Hassan Endam has found himself playing MLS time or sitting on the bench for the MLS team. A tough moment for Akwi to come in here. This ball clipped up over the top, and Laurel will guide that one out.
It's the right idea there from Resende. Just puts it a bit too far into the space, but he had two runners and lucky, and I think it was Metzger there trying to get on the end of it.
New York Red Bulls too right now sitting on the verge of picking up 3 more points, getting back to winning ways, making it 4 straight wins at home. Penn FC trying to make up ground in the playoff race. The win here, New York Red Bulls 2 would move into a tie on points total for 4th in the Eastern Conference, well behind Louisville City FC on points per game, but start to give themselves a little bit of breathing space from that playoff line. Penn FC, as we said, 9 straight home games to close the season, so they're just trying to stay within touching distance. A little bit of tussle down the sideline. Penn FC clearly going to be in a rush. Get the ball back in. Akwi with the clearance to a dangerous area. Galval went for it with his head, and now Mines has a runner in Yanez out wide. He plays it through the lines for Tenari. One-on-one now with Menjivar. Knocked away at the top of the box, and Tribbett with the calm trip to get it out of pressure. Long ball back down the other way. Endom was going to put it into his opponent's path there. We enter the last minute of a minimum of 4 minutes of stoppage time. Would not be surprised to see a little bit more here.
And what I liked on that build-up, that pass that Mines played to Tenari, was just the patience that he showed.
Mines now puts that one by Galvao. The battle with the 17-year-old. And the more experienced Galvao comes away with it. And, you know, I thought maybe Mines' speed would be a bit more effective for New York with this game being so stretched.
Yeah, but you got to remember, he comes into the game where his team's not necessarily has the ball, has the possession. They're not clicking on all cylinders like they are a lot. So he's been asked to do a lot more on the defensive side of things than the attacking.
Tenari back to Yanez. Yanez has 2 Red Bull options in the box, and he can't find either of them. He gets the clearance back off Venter. Now Mines looking for Barlow. Miscommunication there between him and Tenari. Akui stepping up to it. As Penn FC have one last chance in them. And that's going to be a corner kick for New York. And that might be it. As the Red Bulls too might sneak out of this one with a victory. They won 3 in a row here at home before the loss at FC Cincinnati and the tie at Tampa Bay. Jared Stroud in no rush now.
And that last chance that Yanez had, I think he rushes his cross. He does well to get forward. He finds himself into space, and he decides to hit that ball first time. But I would have liked to have seen him take another touch and try to draw one of those 2 Penn FC defenders out of the box, because he had 2-3 guys in there.
And as a player that the Red Bull family very excited about, has come on in a tough spot here today. This has been a second half that's been all Penn FC, creating chance after chance as we see a yellow card go to Andrew Tenari. Not one he'll be too worried about if his team's able to escape with 3 points here. Akwe goes up and wings a strong header, and that will be it. It was not easy, but New York Red Bulls too are able to finally get away with 3 points. They come back to home, and they come back to winning ways. When you look at this one, Florian, for New York Red Bulls too, it's not the second half that you'll be proud of, but we talked about learning moments for this young team, a learning moment here in escaping with 3 points.
Yeah, it's big learning moment. I think from this second half, they need to take those how to manage the game on a 2-0 lead and how to be able to absorb that kind of pressure. It's been a difficult second half for Red Bulls too, but I think it's a really important 3 points.
Well, we'll be back in just a moment with more post-game thoughts for our post-game show with Hunter Freeman and Florian Velo. I'm David Goss here on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
One of the nation's leading heart programs. A shared sense of compassion, innovation, and expertise. Perfectly orchestrated so your world never misses a beat. Hackensack Meridian Health. Life years ahead.
2-1 victory for New York Red Bulls 2. Jared Stroud with another assist moves to 4th in the league on assists for the year. David Goss, Hunter Freeman, and Florian Velo alongside you. Let's take a look at the highlights, Hunter, while Florian Velo signs some autographs for the kids. In the first half, it was all New York. The second half, it was all Penn FC.
Yeah, really a flip-flop of halves for both teams. And New York getting off to the hot start here, finding those goals early, just 5 minutes apart, I think, in the first half, and Barlow getting on the end of that one. And then really it was a change in formation for Penn FC at halftime. They switched to that 3-man back line, put in a couple players here, and Prince and Osei up top, and man, they made a huge difference. And it just seemed like Red Bull 2 could never really figure out how to change and react to that change in formation from Penn FC. They were constantly a threat. You felt the goals coming, and sure enough, it was a knockdown from Osei that Lucky Kassan ended up getting on. Here you see just some half chances, but constant pressure. Fantastic strike there from Prince. Had one earlier when he first came into the game, just 2 minutes in, that he should have hit. And then here you see Franco just uses his pace, hits an across. Fantastic save from Lauro, but unfortunately the defender stopped, assuming he was going to save it, which he's done a fantastic job of all season long. But Lucky just finds the easy goal here, puts it in the back of the net, and then they were back in the game, and you could feel it for Penn FC. They were a threat the rest of the half. Couple half chances here for Red Bull 2 in the second half. Yannis getting forward a couple times. The game got open towards the end, and they found some spaces wide, which is, it's going to happen. That was a difficult one there for Barlow. It looks easy, but it's not. It's one of those, you're almost better off just letting it hit your body. Very difficult. He'll definitely wish he had that one back.
New York outshoots Penn FC, but Penn FC dominates possession in the second half. Comes away with the possession lead, and I think you got to say, Hunter, Raul Vaz, the head coach for Penn FC, probably man of the match.
Yeah, and if I'm Raul Vaz and you've just added a couple new players, I think you got to take a lot away from this second half. Maybe this is your new formation moving forward. I mean, look at how well he did in that attacking three of at the center of the midfield. Osei up top added some fresh legs and caused a lot of trouble with his size. So definitely a lot of positives from that second half for Penn FC.
Florian, thanks so much for joining us once again.
Thank you for having me again.
Hunter, it's always a pleasure. New York Red Bulls 2 now have won 4 straight here at home. They've got 2 more home games coming up, so make sure if you're in the area, come out to MSU Soccer Park, as next week they host Louisville City, and the week after that, it's North Carolina FC. New York Red Bulls 2 move into a tie for 4th in the Eastern Conference. Penn FC now on a 5-game road trip. Struggling. They came out strong in the second half. Were not able to come away with a point. Thanks so much to all of you for watching us here on ESPN Plus. For myself, David Goss, and our head producer, Richard Kaufman. Have a great night.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League may not be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.